Hello and welcome to Winter Disco Tabletop Gaming. We finally have arrived. We are unboxing and building the Light of Eltharion. I am pretty excited. It's been sitting here taunting me for about a week ever since it came out because I've been a bit too sick and in hospital to do anything. I can finally sit down at a desk and actually do it. So I'm pretty excited. So let's stop mucking around. Let's have a look. I've said this many times before. I think this is one of the best models that GW have put out in a while. Not just the pose, but the whole design, the technical aspect of it, how it's just armor, and how it actually works technically from a design perspective. Like, how does it actually stand up as a model? Like, physically stand up, how doesn't it fall over? So I'm interested to see that. And you can see on the back, you have the two weapons there, the Kalanari Blade and the Fang Sword of Eltharion. And this is the reincarnation of an ancient elven language. Elven legend, not language. I'm suffering with my language today. So, I know there's rules in here. Come on, out you come. A little base there. So it's a pretty big base. It is, let me measure that. It's about 5 centimeters. So 50mm base. There you go. So you have on the back here the colors to use. So it's pretty nice. If I do a paint video, I've been promising lots of paint videos, but I've never actually painted anything for the video. So we'll see how we go. Construction wise, I have had a cheeky little look in here because I accidentally forgot to press record before as I was recording. How professional. Bases slide together, looks pretty straightforward, bits go together, yeah, lots of pieces in there. I'm not going to go through the rules briefly, like I'm not going to go in depth. Briefly, what it is, two weapons that the Kalanari Blade, you pick out a hero and you can do extra damage to them. And the Fang Sword, if I remember correctly, when you charge or get charged, you can do things like that, and it has exploding wounds. So if you roll a 6 on wounds, you can do another mortal wound, which is pretty cool. Even though he has two blades, he does actually have a searing darts of light, so it is a ranged attack. You basically roll a dice and you can do some damage. You know, on a 1 nothing happens, 2 or 4 you do D3 mortal wounds, 5+ you do 6. So you probably, on averages, you're probably going to do about 2 wounds thereabouts, which is kind of cool. Spirit armor, you ignore modifiers, both positive and negative. Get my words out. And then damage is halved. So you get a 3+ save, and then your damage is half, which is pretty cool. And there's also a Supreme Swordsmaster. So you ignore negative modifiers when making hit rolls, and you have exploding 6s. So you get more hits, which is pretty cool. And then you can buff during a battle shock phase. You can buff up a unit to Bravery 10, which is pretty cool. So there we go, pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at the sprue, because that's what we're here for the models. So there's 12 pieces on here. That helmet, I love it. A lot of attention to detail, particularly in the base. They have the little bits of wheat for some reason, bits of grass, and yeah, really, really cool stuff. So, no more talking. We've been talking for 4 minutes or whatever. Let's actually build this model, because I'm excited to do it. All right, here we go. We have the model, we have the instructions, we've got the base, we have our glue and all our tools that we need. So let's get into this. Hopefully the lights aren't too bad. It is casting a lot of shadow for some reason, and I can't quite get it all set up correctly. I will have a play around at some point, so I'm going to try and keep my hands out of the way as much as possible. So this is the normal build guide. If you have been on this channel and watched some of the other build guides, I go through step by step, unedited, simply because I want to show you that, firstly, if you make mistakes, it's fine, you can fix it, but also things that come up that you probably would find a bit strange. So that's why I do it. So firstly, it looks like we're building the base to begin with, so we need parts 1, 2, and 3 to start with. So let's pull this out here. 1, 2, and 3. So there's 3 there. So I'm trying to be careful, and I am going to trim up things as much as I can, because I don't want to have to make any mistakes on it. I know with some of the build videos, I don't do that and I come back and fix it later and it infuriates people. Don't worry, it infuriates me as well. So, you got to do what you got to do. So 2, where's 2? There it is. So I accidentally didn't cut it in order. So there is 2 schools of thought on bases. One school is just have a base by itself, no in-ground no inbuilt scenery or anything like that. And the other one is go crazy with the bases. Particularly you find that on the easy to build. So let's see, for example here, I do have some models here because I've been working on some other stuff recently. This one here, it's a mess of a model, ignore that, but you have the model that's actually built into the base. I don't mind that. I actually like it for certain things, not everything, but it's okay. I think for characters, I have no problem with it. I think it's fine. But you know, people may be like, oh, but why? Why? Don't do that. It's so annoying. I don't mind it. It's okay. It's design, and I think with this particular model, you do need some kind of base. You need to be able to hold it up. As we'll see as we're building, it's technically very well done. How they've integrated the cloak and the base itself into providing structure for the model, because it's a pretty crazy model. Let's be honest. It looks pretty good, and even on the base there, you got that bit of grass. I don't know if you can see that. Turn around that way. Little bits of grass. Very, very nice. Yeah, so I hope you're all doing well. This is one of the first videos I've made since I've got out of hospital. Thank you for all the support that you guys have given me. All the kind messages and things like that. It's been greatly, greatly appreciated. Yeah, it's definitely helped out because I love making models and making videos, and it was kind of not fun not being able to do that. But I'm okay. I'm still a bit sore, so I'm on some painkillers at the moment to help me get through. Okay, here's the first thing. You can see this part of the cloak is held up by 2 bits of wheat, and it's already pretty flimsy anyway. You can tell by its, I don't know if you can see it there, bits of the wheat where it bends is a little white, which means there's a bit of pressure being put on it. So that, look, and even when you touch that, there's just so much pressure there. So I think with certain bits, you do have to be really careful. So that's a tip. Number 1. I don't know what's numero uno. I don't know what language that is. Okay. So number 1. So we have the instructions here as well. So I'm going to try and keep the instructions on screen so we can follow on pretty easily. And then number 2, which is this one, goes, how does this go? Let's have a look. So there's little notches. I think is that a little notch there that goes in? I think that goes like that. Okay, alright, so it goes somewhat like that. And then there's another notch that goes in there. Okay, right. So there's two little get in the camera. 2 little sockets there. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this a bit closer, just so we can see a bit better. And I do apologise for the shadow. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. So let's put a little glue in little dabby dabs. I'm going to try and keep the shadow out as much as possible. I've already forgotten how this goes. So it looks like there's a bit there, oh my goodness, like that and like that. I don't know if that's focusing. Okay, there we go. So that is a little bit fiddly, and I've got glue everywhere already, so be careful with that. But when we put the 3rd bit on, this bit, which goes, trying to do it, there's a big socket bit there. Okay, so it does slide in kind of like that in there. There's a point in there, and then there's a hole down there. So that's what we're going to do, and there's another one on the other side. So I'm going to put that in there now. That should join up some bits. And I've got glue on my thumb. That's not good. Wipe that away because we don't want to get that on the model. Okay, there we go. All right, I don't know if you can see that very well, but it does slide in. It's a little fiddly, but it does seem to work. Now, so as you can see, we've got most of the base together. You can see like there's 3 pieces in there. I don't know if you can see the joints, but 3 pieces together, which is good. So let's put the 4th bit on. So number 4, which is the main part of the body. So I don't like how the shoulder points are like halfway down the middle. I don't particularly like that, but that's just the design that we have. So I'm just looking around for points that I can trim off. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do, that looks pretty good. Let's see how this goes together. So it slides in, okay, if I can get the right angle. So it seems to slide in, and yeah, it'll go right into that gap that's there. Very nice. So let's glue that in without wasting time so we can actually get this solid. Ah, beautiful. That just goes right in. Little fiddly, but if you push it in, it'll be all right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm going to move the lights around. Got things a little bit better. This little bit here that we put in is a little bit fiddly. It does involve a bit of pushing. So yeah, the lights are definitely better. We've zoomed in a bit so you can actually see. Like I said, I'm in the middle of moving the studio, and then I got sick and was in hospital, so now I can't actually do much about it. But that's fine. Okay. Next up, we need to put this little bit of wheat on. This cute little bit of wheat. I love it. I just love this little tiny attention to detail. Completely unnecessary. And it's kind of like a little bit fiddly, but I think it's super cute. So I'm kind of happy about that, to be honest. Little things like that. There we go. Goes in very easily. I need to move this base a bit. It's not good enough for my liking. I don't think there's anything in the way that was causing that. I'm just looking around. No, nothing in there. But what I might do, instead of trying to glue it in the top, let's just run a little bit of glue down here to weld all of this together. And we'll get that bit of grass back in there. Yep, it's a bit fiddly. I knew this would be the case, but it is okay. Oh god, it is okay. It's really cute, and I don't want to leave it off. So what you could do at this stage, I imagine, you could almost glue this onto the base. Let's have a look. So it's not saying glue it onto the base, but you know what? I'm going to. I think that at this stage it makes sense to put it on. I just feel like you'll have something easier to hold. Like, you can hold it pretty easily, but I think with the base, I think it's going to be fine. So let's cheat a little bit. So a bit of glue, and I should completely clean this up. That's fine, that'll be fine. Yeah, the rest will be fine. So it doesn't matter whereabouts on the base we go. Well, it does, center it. And usually I will look down the top and get the center of the body, sort of right in the middle of it. Okay, so that's fine, that will just stay there. So now we have it on a base, feels much more solid. I love it. And if we do run into a bit of problems, I might throw a bit more glue down, because we can see, I don't know if you can see a little gap there. So just a little bit under there. Just a bit of a weld. And that will stay in nicely. So I'm just double checking around the base. Yeah, it'll go in there nicely. Alright, next up, we're on to step 4 already. So we need 6 and 7, so we need to put the cloak together. So we'll move the body out of the way. 6 and 7, see if I can actually get that down so it doesn't cast a big shadow. And 6 and a 7, and away we go. So that's a 6. So this is the big cloak that goes out the back. So let's clean this up a bit. Oops, if I can actually get it in hand. So it's not all... Sometimes it's difficult with a sharp knife. I usually slice too much. But it's alright. We can fix that up. It's no big deal. As Bob Ross would say, it's only happy accidents. So I've done a little bit too much there again, but that's fine. Yeah, always have sharp blades, because it'll be super nice. And I've got to remember to get this in camera, because I've moved everything around. My muscle memory is kind of not 100% sure what it's meant to do, where it's meant to go. I feel like that's going to chop off one of the tassels if I'm not too careful. If you have to force the knife through some of the plastic, you're going to cause problems. Just be gentle with it. Alright, so we got that. Then we need 7, which is the sword, or the scabbard. 7. I think this lighting's working a bit better. We'll get there. Right, so it's a little messy, but does need a little bit of a clean. So we've got some mold lines on there. Not much. You don't want to go too hard on this one, because you want to keep it nice. And we want to keep like that sharpish edge. So you probably could get away with not cleaning all of them. Like, you can test fit the pieces and see if everything goes together well. Alright, so 7. How does this go together? So I'm seeing if this... okay, so there's a little gap there that the blade will go in and fit in somewhat nicely, I think. So weird. There's a weird mark there, weird line all the way down there. It's not a mold line. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, you can kind of see it. So I've got it right in the center now. If you see the light reflections, they're slightly off. It's very confusing, but there you go. Now I need to figure out how we join this together. Does it join like that? So it's definitely that way, and then like that. I'm trying to determine... oh, okay. Obviously I'm clueless. There's a clearly marked spot for it to go. I don't know if you can see it in focus. It goes along there. So we need a bit of glue in there. Let's double check. Yep, the glue's coming out. It is starting to dry on it though, so... oh, that was way too much glue. What a disaster. You don't need to push, you can just dab it on there, it should come out. Alright. Okay. Get this in view. And if we're super careful, it should just go. There we go. There it is. Alright, I got a bit of glue on my fingers there, which is not good, but we can clean that up. There we go. So that's just gonna... there we go, it's vanished. Okay, so that's just going to stay there and glue up nicely. So this bit now goes onto the body, but there is a little point there which I believe goes onto one of the other cloaks on this body here. So first what we'll do, we'll put part 5 in, which is a little part there, I believe. So 5 is this little bit here. It's very small, but it might add to the structural nature of the model. Okay. So I'm just trying to see where that knot... how does it go in there? I think this bit joins that bit in there, but with my big dopey fingers, I'm not 100% sure. I feel like there's some bit that hasn't joined correctly. I think it'll be alright though. I think once that joins up, it'll be fine. but I'm not quite sure how this goes in. It always pays to look at... Oh, okay, I see. Alright. That gap, so I can point it out. This gap here matches the shape of the backside of this piece. And sorry this is shaking around. This camera is not even attached to this desk, so I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. So what I'll do, just a little bit of glue in there, and I don't have any tweezers here, so we're just going to have to wing it and hope for the best. It's quite fiddly, not going to lie, and it does need to go behind that front bit. Oh my goodness. There's like a little notch, and it seems to sit there, so I don't know if I caught that on camera, but I'll bring it a bit closer if I can get it in focus. Just in there, in that bit there, there's a little tiny notch that seems to simulate the belt, so I think it ties this bit that was just stuck on, ties into there. So yeah, there you go. Now we need to put the cape on. Make sure I don't have any glue on my fingers. So this ties in with the... Oh god, how's this going to work? Aha, there it is. I had it the wrong way. So you can see it easily ties in there. I was having it around that way. It's actually a lot higher up. In doubt, check the box art because it'll be clearly obvious. So yeah, that ties in just in there. So there's a few points that we can do. I might actually glue from this side. So there's a little point just in here. There's a little point there. We can do around the tops of the shoulders. And that little point there. I love the tiny little throwbacks to the old high elves, like those the little gems and things. I really do like that. It's a nice little touch. And there we go. That goes in. So I'm just going to hold that there for a second. A bit fiddly because of my giant fingers, but there we go. So yeah, there is a little, let's see if I can point it out. If you can see it in there, it's a bit dark in there, but there is a point, like the straps, if I can bring it up, focus please. The straps in there that have glue points onto there, so there's two straps that sort of cross on the back of the armor, and that'll tie into there. Okay, there we go. Nice. We're getting there. So now we need to put one of the arms on and the back part of his helmet. So let's go. Number 10, we'll do his sword arm first. So this is starting to get fiddly because there's little tiny bits that you really don't want to wreck. So when in doubt, cut bigger than what you need to. And I mean bigger, I mean cut off extra bits of the sprue attached to it. You can always chop that off later. So let's clean this up a bit. There's a little bit there. So you want to get really, really nice crisp lines on this model, I think. I think this model deserves that kind of attention because I really do love this model. Like I said, I think it's one of the best ones. Okay, so we've got the arm there, and it looks like there is a pretty big contact point to put the arm on. So let's put that on now. So let's double check I'm doing this right. Yeah, so you have the part of the sword coming up there that connects in here. So I just want to make sure I do this right because you do want to get this 100% correct. So I'm just double checking the bit on the arm guard there about where it goes. Okay, it's going to take a little bit of playing around. I don't want to have too much glue, that might be too much. Okay, so I'm trying to do this on camera, but it's really feely. It just sort of slots right in. And it's definitely one of these pieces that you should probably hold for longer than you think you should. I kind of want to let it go, but I don't think I will yet. and you can see that the glue starts to work, starts to melt. Okay, I think that's enough. Still a little bit flimsy, but yeah, and you can see that it does line up. You can see the light reflections on top of the shape, that it does seem to match up really well. So, well, that's how they connect it. It's the little tiny bit, couple of millimeters, right in the back there, right in the middle of the screen. That's how it connects. That's amazing. That's so good. I should have cleaned up the hand a bit more, but too late. So 9, this is the back of the helmet with the really nice ribbons. There's just so much about this model that I really like. And, oh, one more bit. From like the little ribbons, the way that the armor is held together from a technical perspective, the little bits of wheat on there, which is ridiculously strange. Like, it's just not necessary to have that, but it's there, and I think it just adds so much character to these models. Alright, just being super gentle with a knife, if I can actually put it on screen. So there's not too much mold line on this actually. There's a little bit in here, but it's generally, overall, it's really not too bad. This model isn't actually that difficult to put together. Little bits where it obviously goes together, but you just need to be a little bit patient, a little bit careful. Like with that sword, it could only go in there in one way. But yeah, so we can see here, if I can do it carefully, we have part of the scabbard goes right there. Oops, if I can bring it on camera. Part of the scabbard goes right there. And you can see how flimsy it is. Just moves around, so just be super careful. Still a little bit of glue, that's all it needs. And that goes in like that. Beautiful. That sits in there absolutely perfectly. Now, I'm going to leave the head to the end because I think that's fair. So normally you would put the arm and the head on, but there's a little brooch you can put on. But we'll cut the head out now. Oh my goodness. It has like this, almost this Spartan, ancient Greek look to it, which you actually see in the Kalinar model 2 that Teclis has. And I probably won't buy that one for the channel. So I did cut away a bit more than is necessary, just in there. As you can see, there's a fair bit of extra plastic in there. Doesn't hurt to do that. And the brooch, which is the last step, number 12. Well, it's the last bit in there, so we're going to do this out of order a bit, I think. I don't think it matters, to be honest. So we'll clean the brooch off. I just mostly want to save the head for the end. So the brooch, oops, sorry, not the camera. It's so shaky. I don't understand what's going on. Brooch goes on, there's a little nub right there. Is that glue? There we go. And that just slides right on. If I can actually get it in my fingers. And I really think that some bits, tweezers would be very helpful. Alright, so that's on there. Just in that bit there, that's fine. The other arm, let's clean that up a bit. Doesn't look too bad actually. There's a little bit just at the hand there, so super careful. Don't go crazy. And that seems to be it. It's a little bit of a mold line, but nothing too bad. On the guards of the blade, I think. Excellent. Excellent. So how does that actually go in? Let's have a look here. So it locks into the shoulder and a bit on the armor, which I think, if I can see, okay, so it looks like there's a little notch I don't know if you can even see it. It's so difficult to see. Oh yeah, you do see it. A little notch like right in there that I think it ties into. So let's test fit it first. So then we also have a little notch on the arm that will lock into place. There's a little hole there, so that will go there, I think. No. Oh, this is so difficult. This is so weird. How does it work? Oh, it's actually part of the armor. Sorry, that, if you can see that. It's on the top of the arm guard. So that goes there and then down into there. Okay, so just tiny little bits of glue. That's all you need here. And that's way too much. And that's way too much. It's fine. It's fine. You're not going to see too much of it anyway. So that slides in. And oh my god, no, that's not right at all. That locks into there. This is so difficult. This is really strange. So weird. I think what we'll do, that lock, so I'm going to go off book here because it says there's a point that it does lock into, but I can't actually see it. So the thing I thought in the back, that's actually for part of the rest of the model. There is, it's meant to be like a little notch there, but I can't see it. So I'm just going to put a little dab of glue, tiny little dab of glue behind that sword, and that should lock everything into place. Yeah, so that locks that arm in. That's not going anywhere after a while. But what, I think I might actually leave that. I don't want to muck around with it. I think that, you know, the little pointer stick, there's that little notch just in there. I think these parts are meant to join, but doesn't seem to want to join properly. And I don't 100% know why. So we're going to leave that and not cause more problems than there actually are. Alright, finally, the head, the best bit. That just makes this so iconic. Alright, so I'm just double checking that I'm not cutting anything off, but it looks like that's just actually your sprue. We'll come back and clean that in a second, because there's a lot of detail in here, so I just don't want to lose any. Alright, we'll clean that up a bit. Looks real nice. And get rid of this bit. This is not necessary. It's not what we want on this model. Oh goodness, this is going to require some work. So I'm going to be super careful here. Okay, that got rid of that one. It's not the best spot for a bit of the sprue, but I think it's necessary for it to actually work in the mold. Okay, I think I'm ready to put this on almost. Oh, no, there's a little bit of head there. I just don't want to have to pull this off. And you can see I jump back and forth between the mold line remover and the knife just to see how we go. Okay, I think I'm ready. I think I am ready. So this ties into the back of the head there. Let's just test fit it though. Oh yeah, I don't even need to look at that. That goes in very nicely. Oh, I'm really excited. Very excited. Did it go on there properly? Almost, there it is. There it goes. It slid right in. Oh my god. Wow, okay. This is, yeah, this is a very, very special model. Like, really is very special. I'm sorry, I've got to get it in camera. Let's actually move this camera down a bit so we can see what we've got here. And we have some other models that we can put up there. Get rid of that. Let's have a look. Look at that. That is quite something. It really is. Let's move him around. There's so much in here. Like, technically, it's amazing. Like even the base itself is really cool. So I might move back a bit. Yeah, really, really, really nice. So let's look at some of the detail in here. Again, the focus, is it focusing? I can't really tell. So we've got the mask there, very ancient Greek, ancient Roman, bit of influence there. The swords, I love the swords. There's still definitely a lot of callbacks to the high elves of the old world, particularly with like the fish scale, chainmail, and all the ribbons and gems and different curves and things like that. Very, very nice. But yeah, technically, I think it's really cool. Like that cape is completely off, and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall off at all. All right, let's compare it to some other models. We have a castigator here. So you can see it's basically probably a little bit smaller than a castigator actually, but because of the helmet and the base, it's just shoulders over the top of them. Wow, there we go. I can't actually get the camera down any further than that. That's it. I really do like this model. Very, very, very nice. Like just that head just sits up. I could talk about this for hours. Okay, I'm gonna leave the video there. Hopefully that build along was useful to you. There's a few little bits and pieces that cause a few problems, but overall not too bad. So if you have enjoyed this video, please definitely do subscribe, because we have more unboxings and more buildings coming on in the near future. We've got more Realm Lords, more Necromunda, and then we have lots of 40k stuff to get through. So there you go. This might be one of my favorite models of all time. Okay, I'm just going to stare at this. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.